L'chaim v'livracha. Welcome, folks. Michael, just say something. I want to see if it's picking up.
Test, test.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Perfect. All right. So we're going to begin a new mimer. Good to be back. um, Back at the slot. Okay. This is a Shavuos mimer, Hasidic discourse. Need prep. And it's based on the the words that are said the words that are said prior to the beginning of the Ten Commandments, which the beginning 10 Commandments are Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I'm the Lord your God, should say to me, Eretz Yisrael, that took you out of the land of Egypt. So prior to those words, it's the verse in the Torah says, V'yidaber Elokim, and God, Elokim spoke. It's Kol Advarim Ha'ela, all of these things. Lamor saying, and then I'm the Lord your God. What does this mean? So the Alter Rebbe is precise on the words over here in Likutei Torah. And what does it mean? All of these things, all of these things, all of these words. Could have just said very simply, Yidaber Elokim, and God spoke, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Why do you have to say all of these things? Well, obviously he said all of these things that he's going to say. So he explains that it refers to all of these things, refer to the entire Torah, including, in other words, not merely the Ten Commandments, not merely the Ten Commandments, but anything that any seasoned student of the Torah will, in the end, uh, bring out in a novelty in the teachings, right? Yeah, actually, Siva, thank you for mentioning. Today's learning is dedicated to the two Israelis in Washington, D.C. that were uh, killed in cold blood uh, for the fact that they were Jews, for their neshamas.
Uh, the male victim was a German who went to Israel to serve in the IDF as reparation for the Holocaust. He's a
Really.
righteous. Yeah, he's a righteous on the donations. Yeah.
And the two of them were engaged to get married, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oy. Okay. So again, all of these things refer to all of the things that will be ever part of the Torah. Like this mimer we're learning right now, right? This Hasidic discourse that Rebbe said, um, you know, 33, more than 3,000 years after the Torah was given. It was given at Mount Sinai, right? Where all of these things that will be in the future, it's already there. And the Ten Commandments, Anaichi, I'm the Lord your God, right? Means in those 10 commandments is included the entire Torah, meaning kol advarim me'ela, all of these things. So the Rebbe says we can connect this with Rashi's explanation on the verse in the Torah, that he says on the words kol advarim me'ela, all of these things, right? That again is a preface to I'm the Lord your God. That this is to teach us that the 10 commandments were said initially in one word, right? And afterwards, each of the 10 commandments was detailed. So in one word, 10 commandments were given. Which includes the 10 commandments as they're detailed out afterwards. So the Rebbe says the content of these two explanations, the Alter Rebbe and Rashi, is that the Torah was given in a generality and in detail, right? So the Rebbe says the generality is the 10 commandments. The detail is everything that the future would be given, as Torah teachings. That would be the detail, right? As opposed to Rashi. Rashi saying that not the future, but in the present, the 10 commandments were given in two ways. In one word, meaning generality, and the details thereafter, right? Which kind of makes sense according to the simple meaning of the text, right? Because first came the generality, right? And then came the details. Right. So according to Rashi, first came the generality of one in one word. And according to the Alter Rebbe, it's the other way around. The detail came first, and then the generality. Um, so according to Rashi, it's only speaking about the 10 Commandments. There's the generality of it and the details of the 10 Commandments. According to the Alter Rebbe, speaking about the whole Torah, there's the generality of the Torah, right, in the 10 Commandments. And afterwards, there's how they express themselves, throughout the generations. Furthermore, according to Rashi, it's all in the written Torah, right? The generality of the 10 Commandments, and then the specifics of the 10 Commandments. It's all, of the written Torah, right? Whereas the Alter Rebbe is speaking about the entire Torah, which means both the written Torah and the oral Torah, right? So the Mimer, for example, that we're learning right now, the Hasidic discourse, That's not part of the written Torah. It's not in the 5 books of Moses, but it's there. Kol advarim eile, as the Alter Rebbe says, all of these things, it is there. The oral Torah as a result. Which this idea of generality and detail is even in the oral Torah itself, right? As we have it, that you have the generality in the written word of the 5 books of Moses, and then you have from there the details in the oral Torah. But even in the oral Torah, you also have this principle of general and detail, right? The general is, for example, like the Mishnah. For those who are familiar, who took recently the Talmud course that we gave. So you have the Mishnah, that is the generality, and then you have the Gemara, which explains the Mishnah, that is the detail. That's the detail. So you have that in the oral Torah itself, right? Now we need to understand, since all of the details of the Torah, including but all future generations, right, of great students of the Torah, like our teacher, the Rebbe, or the Alter Rebbe, or, Rashi, Rambam, talking about such individuals, that they will bring novel, all of it was given at Sinai, right? It was all given at Sinai, right? What we're learning right now, this is part of Sinai. So why was it given in a open, revealed way? Why was it first given in a generality? And from the generality, you kind of ooze out, if you will, the specifics. Why was it done that way? So we can understand this by first prefacing the idea that creation of the world, how did that happen? Right? In what manner? Well, in the manner of God looked into the Torah. The Torah is the blueprints of creation. And from there, he created the world. And it too is in klal uprat, generality and then detail. As our sages say, that with 10 sayings, the world was created. And they ask, but why? God needed 10 utterances to create the world? He could have done it with one utterance. Why 10? Right? So the answer is because there's one utterance of God that includes the 9 others. In other words, Bereshis, in the beginning, that word, that's the generality. God created heaven and earth, right? And the word the heaven and the earth includes everything in heaven and earth, meaning in the words Bereshis, which is a generality of the word of God in creation, includes all of the other 9, like, in other words, let there be light, right? Let there be, the earth sprout forth vegetation, All those are the 9 others that are included in this one. And then, in other words, first it was the generality. There was the soup mix, if you will, of everything in creation in the first word of Bereshis. And thereafter, um, comes the details. In other words, God placed the sun in its position. The earth sprouts, vegetation, that becomes a detail. Now, that's in fact the way the world was created, but even in its root source, in the spiritual realm, we do not believe in evolution of the species. Sorry to tell you folks, I do not come from the monkey. He ain't my uncle. Okay? But we do evolve or devolve from the divine attributes of God, also in a similar manner of generality and detailed. Right? That's the way creation is in its root source in what we call the 10 divine attributes. Interesting. 10 divine attributes. There are 10, look at the parallels over here. 10 divine attributes that God creates the world with. There's 10 statements that God created the world with. There is 10 commandments that God gave his wisdom and his will to us. And in each one of them, there's the generality in creation, Bereshis, and then the 9 others come from it. In the 10 commandments, the word Anochi, right, that one word, I am, includes all the 10 commandments, or in the words, these are, all of these words, right, all of these things, all of these words, includes all the 10 commandments, or includes all of the Torah. And now we have also, in the spiritual realm, there's 10 divine attributes. So the word Bereshis, which is the generality in creation of the Word of God, has many different levels to it. The Yerushalmi, Talmud, the Targum Yerushalmi, the translation in the Jerusalem Talmud, translates the word Bereshis to mean Chachma. Chachma. Well, we translate as wisdom, a poor translation. Sundance, you had your last dance. Chachma, translated as wisdom, but it's the first of the 10 divine attributes, right? The first power of our soul, likewise. And it includes all the other 9, because from that flash of wisdom is included the rest. Onkelos translates it, the word Bereshit, Nikadmin, which actually refers to crown, which refers to will, which is even beyond Chachma. The original thought of God to create the world. We see the parallels that are going on over here. More to come. This is fascinating. At least I find it very fascinating. We'll have more to come. Thank you for joining. Good to be back.